G'day guys, Greg here. Well, today I'm going to show you how to cook a corned beef Silverside using the pressure cooker. Now I love using the pressure cooker because it usually halves the time in cooking. Normally you'll be on the stove with this thing for like 3 hours, but today it's only going to take like an hour and a half to cook this. Anyway, let me show you the ingredients I'm using. So what I'm using today is some corned beef. This comes in a bag. And the beauty about it is it's one of the cheapest cuts there is. I've got some basil, some cloves, peppercorns, malt vinegar. I've got some sugar. I'm using brown sugar today. Onion, carrot, and some bay leaves. Now I'll list the ingredients and the amounts I'm using down below in the show more bar, but I'll be saying them along the way anyway. So let's start cooking. So just a few things I need to cut up, and that's the carrot. Just into chunks. And also the onion. That's getting chunked as well. Alright, that's the hard work done. Although you will need to rinse off this corned beef. It's probably still covered in the salt, so we need to just take it out of the bag and just rinse off any of that gooey stuff that's on the outside. Alrighty, so let's take the lid off there. I'll just put a little bit of water in, that's cold water, and this is 2 tablespoons of malt vinegar. You can use any old vinegar really. Doesn't really matter. And I need 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. You can use any old sugar really. Doesn't really matter. But this should take away the acidity, I think, from the cooking. And we'll give that a stir just to dissolve all those things that are in there. Now with the basil, I'll just add about 2 sprigs worth, the equivalent of. Here are the cloves. I'll add about 8 of those in. Is that about 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that'll do. And some peppercorns here, about 8 peppercorns as well. Is that 8? Probably. I've got the bay leaves, the onions, the carrots, plus the ones that fell on the floor, which I washed. Now, stick in the corned beef. And we want to fill this up so it's covering the corned beef. Maybe if the vegetables weren't on the bottom, it might help a little bit better. Just give that a spin, make sure all these ingredients are nicely mixed through. Stick the lid on. Oh, and make sure this is on seal. That's pretty important. Alright, so let's go to pressure cook. Cooking time. Now I want it to cook for about an hour. 59 minutes. That should do. We'll start that cooking. So now I'm just going to let that cook, and once it's finished cooking, I'm just going to let the steam come out naturally. Or you can release it and just let it sit in there for about another 15 minutes. But really, I'm just going to let that sit there till it's cooked, and until the steam evaporates out itself. It's probably about an hour and a half. It doesn't really matter. But I'll come back in about an hour and a half, and well, let's see how well it's cooked. Now, by the way, the corned beef that I was using was about 1.1 kilos, and I'm going to cook it for about an hour. And but if it was like 1.5 kilos, I'll probably add another 10 minutes on, and then if it was even bigger, I'd probably add another like 10 minutes or 20 minutes. It sort of doesn't really matter because it doesn't really matter how long you cook it for. The longer you cook it, the better. But you don't want to cook it too long because then it will just fall apart and become mush. Alright, well, it's been an hour and a half since I put this in. It's had half an hour to just chill out and relax. And here it is. Tell you what, it smells really good. Anyway, how about we whack this on a plate? We'll cut into it and see how it turned out. Alright, well, let's cut into this. Mate, I'm hardly even using any force on this knife at all. It just like went through like butter. Man, look at that. That looks so good. Right. Now today I'm having mine with some mashed potatoes and some of the carrots and onion that I cooked in with the water. And something else that you can have with that is, well, a white sauce. But today I'm going to have mine with a little bit of mustard. Mustard goes pretty well with corned beef, especially on a cold sandwich. Okay. Oh man, that is so tender, and it's got such a nice flavour. It tastes so good. What about with a bit of mustard? Let's see what that's like. Oh man, that tastes so good. You saw how easy it was to make, and it just turns out so well every time. Anyway, there's the corned beef cooked in the pressure cooker. Is that something that you would be making? Well, if you got a pressure cooker, I definitely think it is something you should make because it tastes so good. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time I cook something. See you then. Oh yeah, this is